Welcome, Barney.
Thank you very much.
So what was it, Barney, that actually inspired you to do something special?
Norm, it was strictly an accident. I'll describe it. First we get the weather. It was a rainy day in July or August, and the kids were bored. They were inside, and the Pritchards were having it invited people from Seattle over with their families, just for picnics and food and one thing or another. The kids were getting on everybody's nerves, and so Joe Pritchard picked up a ping pong paddle, which happened to be in his cabin, and saw a fun ball, which was softball size. Said, "Hey, you kids get out of here and go up to the badminton court and hit this ball around. We're tired of you." So the kids did. They left as they were told by their elders, and they didn't come back. And so another very good friend who was at the party, "What are the kids doing?" "Well, let's go up and see what they're doing." So Dick Brown and Joe Pritchard walked up to the court, and the kids were totally involved in hitting that ball around on that, which was a badminton court, built as a badminton court. And that was the first hour of what we now know as pickleball.
And were you using the original badminton net up high?
That's correct. Yeah.
So,
Norm, it was a
and how did that work for the kids? Was that kind of high?
Nobody cared. We were just kind of passing the time. There was nothing formal about it. They were just hitting with a ping pong, hitting a softball size Cosm ball and hitting it over the net.
So what was it that caused the net to be lowered?
Just experimenting with different things. Let's try a lawyer. Everybody has seen, tennis nets. So let's try it lower, and just a series of kind of experiments, you might say, or to try something a little different, because it was fun. And it was a certain amount of competitiveness in that, but that's the way it got started.
So you didn't actually, at least initially, sit down and say, "Here's a set of ground rules, this is what we want to do, and we wanted to play it like tennis or whatever"?
There was absolutely nothing formal about it.
So you were using originally ordinary ping pong paddles,
Correct.
which were pretty small for that big softball-sized ball.
Way too small, and we broke some of them with that ball. You're absolutely right, Norm. And so that was all on a Saturday. And so Saturday night, I had a bandsaw over at our place, which was up the beach 600 feet. So I got busy with the bandsaw and cut some paddles, which I just fashioned out. Needs to be bigger and heavier material, and made the first pickleball that night. Then I went down in the morning, and kids didn't see much of that court after we got into it, and I'm ashamed to say. But they had other things to do.
Well, quickly now, according to tradition, when the game started out, there was a rule that said that you could have 1 foot inside the baseline of the court when you served. Now, what was that all about?
Well, that was all about just the physical facilities that we were dealing with. There was the court, and it was a badminton court, and there was a madrona tree very close to the end line. Okay, as you can see here, if I stand with both feet behind the court, I hit the tree on my backswing. So therefore, we quickly adjusted to you could put 1 foot in the court to stay away from that tree, therefore completing your service. Just that simple. Yeah.
So then the next innovation, I think, would have been the non-volley line.
Yeah.
And how did that all come about?
Okay, summer's over, and we all go about our ways. Joe Pritchard happened to be a congressman at that time, and Bill Bale went to Indonesia, and Barney Mc Callum was left in Seattle. And so the summer experience, I mean, it was just burning in my brain that we were going to do more of this. Because I think we need, Norm, to interject in that first summer, the maybe 10 or 15 different discussions, arguments, if you want to get it, as to the ball, the paddle, and variations of the rules and the scoring. And we went all the way from ping pong to tennis to badminton. And as we all know now, we accepted the badminton scoring system as the best. But we all went our ways Labor Day. We continued to discuss the paddle, which we liked the paddle that we had, and we played some more with the larger ball, but quickly we got to the ball that we all know today as being much more flexible, easier, all that kind of stuff. We experimented all winter with the double bounce rule, and also we kept on about 6-inch increments moving the non-volley line back, or making it larger, because it came from 3 feet to where it is today. And we did that, that was a trial and error. Everybody participated, and we all really got in agreement. And of course, that adds a tremendous feature to the game, increases the volleys, different techniques of shots, and all the things that you all know as well or better than I do right now. But that was all done in that winter. Played in the rain, lots of rain days, you know, and it was fine. It was a course street, nobody broke anything. And
So the lowering of the net,
had been
the enlarging of the
accomplished.
paddles, the introduction of the ball, the introduction of the non-volley line, and the double bounce all happened within that first year.
When Joe came back, I said, Joe, you know, we've got some, and Jim Weller, of course, was there, and we're all playing. And I said, you know, we've really made a hard decision. We're 99% sure now that the double bounce rule and the extended volley zone, non-volley zone, is here to stay and the right way. What that did, those two things, is gave the game balance. From day one, we fought the idea of big people, powerful people domineering the game. And this put every size and shape right into it. In fact, very easy. No arguments. Talked about the other, discarded.
So then Joel decided to make a dedicated A court himself, the first one.
No,
No.
no. It remained in the picture, of course, as a fun place to play.
Yeah.
But his next door neighbor on Bainbridge Island, a gentleman named Bob O'Brien, who was a gamer and a very prominent guy in Seattle and a fun-loving guy, as his wife was and his kids were. And he immediately, after that first summer, it would be the second summer of playing, built the first pickleball court. 2 trees, the fir trees in the background, if you were standing where I am now, you could make a great shot into those trees, and the opposing player was forced into a backhand, which he'd get hung up in the trees in. So that was considered one of the ace shots, was to run that guy into the tree. Now the summer after the O'Brien court, I built a court on our property, which is 600 or 700 feet away from the original Pritchard badminton court.
And what year would that have been?
That would have been about 1968.
Okay. For a good number of years, pickleball was pretty much a Washington game, Seattle area game.
Seattle area game, yeah, Puget Sound game, and all of us had, you know, our livings that we had to make, so pickleball was a sidelight for all of us. We had no idea of the commercial part of the game. It was a social game. People interacted, people entertained with the game. And it was just that. There was nothing like we see today. There were some tournaments, if we get into that in this interview, which we thought, things build off of a base and a pyramid, generally.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just what happened with this. But when we started, there were no ambitions that way. It was just a matter of people saying, why don't you do this?
Mm-hmm.
And so we said, well, why don't we? The rule writing, we passed over that.
Yeah. But
And I'll throw one thing is how fast we made decisions and how it fit in socially. Like the fact that your hand is part of the paddle. And that has not been changed since day one. Now, why did we do that? We didn't want any arguments.
yeah.
So a lot of decisions were made. Hey, let's not have any arguments on this. Let's just have fun.
Yeah, well, it's a tribute to you and to Joel and to whoever the others
Well,
were
Jim
that were
Weber.
involved with that after 40 years and some, that the rules are basically all intact.
They are.
The changes that have made to the rules are very incidental,
They're really minor,
very minor.
very minor, and I think as we went along with the original thinking and how it manifested itself into the rules, the way we play the game is that we were trying to achieve balance among the players, both
Mhm.
with the equipment, people's physical abilities, and few arguments. Few arguments.
But I'll bet you did have a few debates early on.
They were fun. They were fun with friends,
Yeah.
And, people would try and make rules and build the game around their own physical strengths.
Right.
And we'd say, you're too big anyway, and especially that non-volley thing. And of course, we go back to the double bounce,
Right.
That
Those
changed
need
the
to be
whole-
held sacred, don't they?
Oh, it's the whole deal. Forget the program if you throw those out.
One of the things that we didn't talk about early on was the underhanded serve
Oh, yeah.
versus
Yeah.
a tennis serve.
Yeah.
How long did it take to evolve into that?
About 15, 20 minutes. Yeah, that was over very quickly. And it was certainly tried over on Bainbridge Island in that first summer.
Yeah.
And that went out just kind of as fast as it came in.
Yeah,
And, the spirit, the way that the game was developed and, what's happened is that we have a very low tolerance for, as old players and people that enjoy it, for people that want to bastardize it, and
Yeah.
take advantage of people. That's not the idea. Let them go do something else.
yeah. Well, Barney, I want to thank you a lot for a great talk. I'm happy to have had the chance to spend some time with you.
Pleasure has been mine, Norm, and I love to see great athletes like you.
Well, if you had a chance to watch me, you might reconsider that. But
Everybody comes off smiling.
You're right. Everybody comes off smiling. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's exactly
Well, I
right.
thank you again.
Adios.